Greetings, new citizen, and welcome to the Verse. So, you've made your first pledge, you've installed the game to your SSD, you've loaded the launcher, clicked live, and after a short while have finally landed on the main menu. The next hour or so is going to be filled with confusion, as at this stage there's no tutorial, so you haven't got a clue what to do next. Over the course of this video, I'm going to take you through some of the very basics that you need to be able to navigate the game as a whole, but especially in that initial period. I'll be including a basic overview of some initial graphic settings and keybinds, where you might want to start the game, the basic controls, and a basic overview of the interfaces you will use early on. Hopefully, at the end, you will feel a lot more comfortable and a lot less overwhelmed, allowing you to embark on your adventure as soon as possible. Welcome to a Star Citizen's Noob Guide, the first hour. So here we are at the start screen, and the first thing we're going to do is set up some keybinds and graphic settings. At this stage, I'm only considering binds for people using keyboard and mouse, not HOTAS or HOSAS. At the bottom left on the screen, click on the Options button to open up the menu. We're not going to change anything in the first tab, so click on the second for Graphics. Star Citizen is currently heavy on the CPU, so what we want to do here is reduce that load and transfer some of it to the GPU. So to do that, set the quality to very high, along with scattered object distance and terrain tessellation distance. However, the next option, Planet Volumetric Clouds, you want to decrease to either medium or off. Clouds and water are often the kind of entities that affect performance the most in many games, so minimizing them is generally good advice unless you have a very good rig. Personally, I keep them on medium, and this will be one of the first things to consider amending once you've been in the game for a few minutes. Carrying on down, adjust the field of view to suit you, turn motion blur off, and of course VSync off as well. I personally reduce chromatic aberration to 0 and turn film grain off. Again, these last two settings are ones that you can adjust once you're happy with the baseline performance and depending on your hardware. These settings will change over time as CIG bring in the new graphics tech, so at the moment this is just to keep that initial experience as painless as possible. Audio has some settings which you can adjust to suit yourself and will skip controls as well. This latter has some settings which will become more relevant if you use a joystick, but you can also adjust your mouse sensitivity in there. What we want to move to now is the keybinds tab. I recommend you take some time to look at this screen as it lays out the default settings for keyboard and mouse, both for when in flight and for on foot. A little tip: take a screenshot of these two layouts and set one as a wallpaper if you have a second screen, print a copy off as if people print these days, or save a copy to a tablet or your phone so that you can refer to it quickly rather than have to navigate through the menus again. Also, under the Control Profiles menu are some pre-installed settings for different keyboards and combinations of joystick and thruster inputs. You can also search online to find various community-created layouts. We'll cover some of the basic keys shortly, but right now I want to show you how to set up a couple of very useful additional keybinds. Click the Advanced Controls customization in the bottom left, and then make sure the box on the bottom right says Keyboard and Mouse, although this is the default. On the left-hand side, you can see a column of headings with plus signs, each of which opens up a menu for the settings in those groups. For the first custom setting, you'll want to scroll down to Flight Movement. When that menu opens, scroll all the way down to the bottom of that list to the option Request Landing. This will simplify the process for requesting landing and takeoff from spaceports and space stations to just one key. Many of us bind this to F3 as it currently isn't used for anything else. To bind a key, double tap on the setting and then press the key you wish to use. Another setting I like to bind is the ability to close and open all the doors on my ship from the cockpit seat. It's another small quality of life setting that can also be practical if you need to make a quick getaway. This can be found under Vehicles Cockpit and then Open Closed Doors toggle. I set this to my hashtag button. The final menu is the comms, VoIP and head tracking. Again, most of this I am not going to cover as a lot of it is a bit more specialist, but if you intend to use Voice over Internet Protocol or Face over Internet Protocol, you will need to select the relevant devices in this tab. So now back to the main menu. You have 3 options: Persistent Universe, Star Marine and Arena Commander. The latter 2 are in-universe game modes for infantry-based and ship-based combat. Those aren't the focus for now, so instead you'll need to click on Persistent Universe. On the first load, you'll be taken to the character creation screen, and this is one of those where you are presented with an interface that just makes you go, what? The idea here is that you select your gender, and then you scroll through some models showing individual features that you then blend into your actual character. Honestly, I recommend that you don't spend too much time here unless you really want to and really understand how the blending works. Pick your gender, a face and your haircut, and then click accept in the bottom right. Next, you will need to pick your primary residence. As it states on the screen, this will be your initial spawn location, but also where any items or ships you buy in the pledge store or that you gain through events or subscriber rewards will be stored. At the time of recording, there's only one system in the game, Stanton, so select that, and then you have 4 options: Lorville, Orison, Area 18, or Noob. The image in the background changes to show you an idea of what the location looks like, and the lore gives you a very brief description of the city. I have a playlist of guides around the 4 cities, and I will link this at the end of the video. However, I can say that the most popular starting location is probably New Babbage, a modern city with wearable tech and a focus on health and well-being. I personally choose Orison more often than not because I love the beauty of the city in the clouds. However, in my opinion, the starting location with the best range of shops to buy ships, armour, weapons, etc. is Area 18, and this would be my recommendation, even though, like Orison, it lacks the ability to collect any ground vehicles you have. Lorville was the first landing zone added to the game, and at the time of recording is going through a redesign. And its biggest negative is that you won't be able to buy any handheld guns there, but it does have several gates around it where you can retrieve ground vehicles. The choice is yours, and remember, while the game is still in development, there's going to be a few wipes anyway, and you'll get an opportunity to try out different starting locations. Once you've selected your primary residence, choose your server location. I typically leave it on best. I'm in the UK and have loaded into an Australian server with absolutely no performance issues. But of course, you can pick the region most suitable to your actual geographical location. Note that from this screen, you can go back to the character customization if you want to, but for now, let's just click Set as Primary Residence, and at the next screen, click Confirm. Once you've clicked this, you can't go back and choose a different primary residence. And then you'll load into the game. You load into the game lying on a bed in the primary residence. There are 2 ways to get up. The first is to just press the W key, but the second introduces you to the game's current main interaction key. To interact with any item in the verse, you need to hold down F, which brings up the options for the item you're looking at. In this case, we have one option, Get Up, so while still holding the F key, click on the text with your mouse. Note that this text needs to be blue. If the text in the highlighted area is green, the game is showing that it's an interactable item, but you're too far away to be able to use it. Now, you can see along the left side of the screen the game chat. If you don't want to see this for now, just press F12 to hide it, and F12 brings it back again. We'll look a little more at the chat functions another time. Before we wander around, let's take a look at the inventory and the mobilglass. To access the inventory, press I. This immediately shifts you into third person with your character in the middle and initially only shows a box on the right. This box is the local inventory, specific to items you have stored in that location. Local inventories are at every landing zone, space station and ship. You can't move items from one local inventory to another in these menus. You have to collect the items you want and take them to the desired location. A brief warning, the inventory functionality is not the best, and it's something that again is in the process of being improved over the next couple of years. Under the title bar is the storage capacity of the inventory, and to the left of that is a filter button. This gives you 9 specific filters and one menu to customize your own filters to find the items you want. Currently, to move an item from your local inventory to, say, a backpack or armor inventory, you have to click and hold down the item and drag it to the desired location. Although with 3.18, a move all function has been added. The exception is to equip armor, which I will show you shortly. Now you will note that I already have several items in my local inventory. These are items I have bought in the Pledge store, have gained through being a subscriber, or have been awarded through specific events like Luminalia. It is likely that you won't have many, if any, items here, unless you've spent real-life money on extra items, or if items like a paint were included in your starter package. Press I to close the inventory again, and now let's have an overview of the Mobiglass. I intend to cover this in more detail in a future video. To access the Mobiglass, press F1, although F2 and F11 open specific menus within the Mobiglass as well. The Mobiglass is Star Citizen's journal, and from here you can check your character's status and the amount of currency you have. You can apply paints and change the loadout for your ship. You can view the items you have stored in other local inventories around the verse, plot your navigation through the system, send AUEC to other players, select work contracts to earn more AUEC, access the game chat and set up parties, repair and refuel your ship, read important information about the galaxy and trade prices, and track your reputation with the various organisations, both legal and underground, that you carry out work for and against. Once again, this is a function that has a major redesign planned, which is expected to be a lot more user-friendly. At the bottom of the screen in the middle, the circle with 6 squares is your Mobiglass's homepage. When you first load in, take notice of the current balance figure. That will most likely be approximately 20,000 AUEC as the typical starting balance given to players. This is enough to buy some armor, tools, a weapon and ammo, and some sustenance to get you started. Press F1 to close your Mobiglass. Now, there is no map to guide you around the locations, so you have to navigate yourself. It is absolutely worth taking your time to have a walk around and learn where you can find each type of shop, the medical facilities and the spaceport. A lot of people at first miss the fact that actually everything is signposted. You just have to look up at the walls and sometimes down at the floor for the directions as to where to go. The temptation right at the start is to rush to the spaceport and get in your ship, but you should probably equip yourself with armor, weapons and meds. Once you locate which shops sell these, your best bet is to use one of the terminals to buy the items you need. Again, use the F key to interact with the terminal and you will be presented with a storefront. These look slightly different at various locations, but all follow pretty much the same layout. At the very top, you can switch between buy and sell. The choose destination option states where you want any items you buy to be stored or where you can find the items that you want to sell. Please note that when buying, you will not be able to fit large items such as guns and armor in backpack or other armor storage, and you should select the city as your destination. This will add the bought items to your local inventory. You then have 2 options: choose category and choose subcategory. The category is typically split between armor, undersuits, weapons, and miscellaneous. The subcategory then breaks those down further. For example, under armor, you can filter down to helmets, arms, legs, torso, and backpacks. To the right of this is a search box. Click on that with your mouse button, and if you know the name of an item, you can type it in there and the goods will be filtered as you type. When buying items, you can either press the quick buy button beneath the tile for that item, or if you click the tile, a larger image will appear on the right and a buy button appears bottom right. Click on that and you can adjust the number of each item to buy. For example, if buying ammo for a specific gun, you probably want to go to the more quantitative menu rather than repeatedly having to press quick buy. To exit all these menus, there's a classic X button, or you can just hold the S button down to back away from and exit the terminal. You can also buy items direct off the shelf. As you can see in this shop, there are guns, tools, and armor on display. Using the F key, you can click on buy, inspect the item, or in the case of armor and undersuits, you can even try them on. Once you click buy, you can cancel or confirm the purchase. With this menu, you can't change the destination storage and you can't buy multiple items in one transaction. Anything bought this way goes straight to your local inventory. Now, you've bought your armor and guns and you want to equip them. Use I to open your inventory. With armor, you must have an undersuit on. So if at any stage you're wearing normal civilian clothing or a medical gown, which will be a lot, you need to remove those first by clicking and holding with the left mouse button and either dragging them to the inventory or dropping them on the floor using the box with the hand and down arrow. To equip your undersuit, drag it from the inventory and you'll see a circle over your avatar's midriff, which is an item port. Hover the undersuit over that and release, and the suit should equip. Alternatively, undersuits, armor, and backpacks can be equipped simply by double tapping them while they are in the inventory. You can't double tap them to remove them though, they have to be dragged. From 318 onwards, you can see all the available item ports on your character and armor by clicking on the cog symbol in the top right hand of the screen and ticking the box. Different items will fit different ports, so play around with them to learn what items can go where. Once you have all your armor and backpack on, you can drag and drop guns, ammo, the multi-tool, the med gun, grenades and other items to carry on your person for quick access. Once you find your way to the spaceport, you need to look for the Fleet Manager terminals, characterised by the orange glowing screens. Interact with these and you will see a list of all the ships available to you. Select the ship you want to use, click the arrow marked retrieve, and after a few seconds the terminal will tell you which hangar or docking port you have to go to. Later on in the game, when you have more ships and have travelled the verse, you will find that your ship is elsewhere. You'll need to claim the ship first, and depending on how far away it is, how big a ship it is, and what state you left it in, as well as any insurance you have, it will then give you a timer telling you how long you need to wait. Starter packages are usually a short amount of time, but ships you buy in game may well take a bit longer. Once the ship is on the landing pad, find the hangar elevators and press the button for the correct bay. There, you'll meet your ship for the first time. Some ships have ladders direct to the cockpit, and others have elevators or cargo ramps. Use the F key to interact with whichever your ship has to board. If you have used a ramp or elevator, you'll have to use the F key again to pass through any internal doors and to enter the pilot seat. And now, it's time to get airborne. To turn your ship on, hold down R, and you'll hear the power plant kick into life. You then need to use the previously bound F3 key to request to leave the hangar. Once the doors open, to take off, hold down the spacebar, but not for too long or you'll just shoot up into the ceiling. Get yourself level with the middle of the bay door and release the spacebar. You can use the left control to lower the ship if you fly too high. And don't forget to press N to retract your landing gear. To move forward, simply press and hold W. You can adjust the speed of this using the scroll wheel, and this bar on the left shows you your speed. While exiting, keep it at a sensible pace, and once you've cleared the doors, you can then push your mouse forward to angle the ship up. Once facing up, you're safe to pick up the pace. If you don't want to have to keep your finger on the W key, you can press C and cruise control will be activated. Just remember to press C again when you want to take back control. To navigate the galaxy, you need to use quantum mode. This is activated with the B button. Once you have sufficiently cleared a planet, moon or space station, press B to see all the icons for different destinations you can reach. Turn your ship to face one so that the mouse cursor in the middle of the screen is over the icon. You will see two sets of percentages increasing in the graphic in front of you. One is for the quantum drive spooling up, the other for the course to be calculated and plotted. As soon as both are at 100%, hold B and you'll begin your journey through space. You can release B once quantum is activated. When travelling in system, to exit quantum at any point, you just need to hold B again. However, if you are jumping to a point of interest on a planet or moon, that course is locked in and you can't manually exit. The final key to advise you of in this video is how to switch into third-person mode to enjoy the views and to fill your drive with countless screenshots. Press F4 while in flight to exit to an external view. To rotate around, hold down Z and move your mouse. As long as Z is held, this will not affect the direction your ship is travelling in. If you hold down F4, you can zoom in and out using the scroll wheel. And there are a number of other keys for cameras that you can find in the key bindings, including how to reposition your camera and save preset angles. There are a lot more controls that you will pick up as you go along, and I hope to provide you with more videos on the various functions and activities that introduce these to you. For now, these basic controls should help you get off to a quick start, rather than having to wander around aimlessly. If any existing players have any other early game tips, please feel free to share them in the comment section. And if you're a new player and have further questions, you're more than welcome to ask. Don't forget to drop a like on this video if you found it useful, and subscribe to the channel for more videos. For now, good luck with your first steps into becoming a citizen. I'll see you next time.